Hello and welcome to Swing and a Crit Miss, a podcast where my friends and I play Tales of the Valiant by Kobold Press. We're not professionals, we're not amazing gamers, we're just having a good time, and we hope you will too. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and welcome to Swing and a Crit Miss. Recording now. All working. My voice coming through. Looks like it. Great! Okay. All right, folks. So, last time we were here with our adventurers, you guys had major way into the capital city of Sulan in Gelen, looking for Siror Ozin. You passed through a couple villages, talked to a couple people here and there, discovered some things about the people of Gelen that you may not have known otherwise. And then, as you went to the capital of Sulan, you found your way and found Ro, the air-infused friend of Auran, and talked with him a bit. Seems he was hiding low. And then you settled down into the Magic Carpet Inn, which was run by this insectoid man named Mack. And after that, you kind of settled in, relaxed, a couple conversations here and there about certain things that happened along your trip. And then in the morning, you all decided that you were going to go towards the college area, where you were going to find if Siror Ozin was indeed still in the city, or if he had gone on another adventure. You discovered he was indeed in the city and was giving lectures to a couple of the buildings around in the campus about architecture and archaeology and his findings in the Manarot Desert, things like that. And I believe where we last ended, Primrose was talking to professors and asking about how they could get a meeting to discuss the door that you found in the mountains that held some sort of undead or necromantic energies that called out to Auran and Odavius. So, with that said, you were directed towards the sort of secretary of Siror Ozin, who was in a archaeology building as part of this campus, to make an appointment if you wanted to have a meeting with him. So, with that said, what are we doing?
Shall we go make an appointment with him?
Yep. Primrose, you take front.
Alrighty.
All right. As you go towards the archaeology building, passing by the professors, here and there, and the students walking by, you actually see a group with a person walking backwards showing them the buildings. Appears to be some sort of college campus tour showing off the different buildings of Gelen in various ways. And you make your way to the archaeology building, and you kind of look, and there's a small, floating directory made out of stone that says Siror Ozin's office, floor 3, room 305. And you walk up, go around, and you follow the path towards the building, towards 305, getting a little lost, as all university buildings are always kind of just stupid confusing to get around. And you find yourself, there is a human woman sitting on a desk, writing a couple things on a piece of parchment, and then sealing them, rolling them up, and then casting a few incantations, and the roll or scroll, whatever she has, disappears from her hands, and then she goes back to writing another, almost in a very just fluid motion and very almost robotic in a way of just copying down something. And she is in front of Siror Ozin's office.
Hello there. I had a run-in with a couple professors outside.
You see her take a finger, point it up to you, and continue writing for a second, and then collapse the thing, looks up at you. I'm sorry, continue.
My apologies. We had a bit of a run-in with a couple professors out there, and we were telling them about some of our travels and how we found this very fascinating ancient archaeological site, it seems, of... I'll turn to Auran and Odavius, almost like a tomb of some kind. We're unsure because we're not experts, but it appears to be a door that has been sealed for a long time with positions and looks like it could be opened with some sort of key. And we were wondering if Sir Ozen would be curious about such a site. I know from tales, that he is very interested in these types of things, and figured we'd bring this to his attention.
You see her kind of reach out with her hand, and in front of her, like a little small, like Rolodex almost. Rolodex pops out, and you see her just flip through it with her finger, just going through. Well, it appears Professor Ozen is very busy in the next coming months with another expedition to the Manarot Desert. He'll be leaving here within the next week, actually.
I don't necessarily want, like, he doesn't need to go check it out or travel to it now, but I figure while he's here and while we're here, 2 points aligning at this, I don't know if it would ever happen again. We figured we'd at least inform him of it, maybe be able to point it out on a map to him and give him a first-hand tale of what we saw there. And if he had any questions, immediate questions for us, maybe we could answer some of those as well.
Well, it looks like his appointments are all very much booked up for the rest of the week. You could, if you wanted to, attend one of his lectures and see if you could talk to him after, following the lectures, when he's giving a Q&A at the end of everything. But unless there were some possibility of contributing to his campaign funds or to his archaeological digs, he's rather stocked up.
What sort of meetings is Siror's? And I mean, obviously a busy man, but I figured he was busy more in the field than in the office.
Well, when he comes back from any expedition, that's usually the time he's able to actually sit down and talk with a lot of the professors that he's here with, and some of the students. He still does teach classes every once in a while, so he unfortunately is a very busy man, all things considered. He's the lead archaeologist in the Manarot Desert, and indeed a very strong contributor to a lot of the things in Sulan itself.
I'll look back at my party, see what.
I believe. Well, this came secondary to the reason why we are here. We are actually messengers. If you could tell Siror Rosen that his blue friend. I want to say tiefling, but I know we're not in that. What's the
Chiron?
Chiron.
Elise.
Well, that's her name, but
That's her name. But I'm not trying to use her name. I'm deliberately avoiding using her name.
I'm dumb. Okay, go for it.
What was the race? Sorry.
Chiron, I believe.
Siberian.
Siderian.
Siderian. Oh, my
Siderian.
lineage must be different then. Must have did something wrong.
An old friend, a blue Siderian. We have a message from them. If you could let him know and let him decide if it's worth an audience, that's all we ask.
You
If
see
we need to
her
wait for a lecture, that's fine.
in the middle of you talking. You see her kind of like stiffen up for a second, and her eyes like go looking off into the distance for a sec. It appears Siror will see you now.
Thank you.
Welcome. She gets up, opens the door, and you're brought into a room, and the room is completely empty. There's no desk, there's no windows. It seems like it's just like a small little cubicle.
I'll lean up against the wall by the door, not entering the room.
I will also say, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Sharon.
Sharon. If this has to be on record for anything, we are here for the proposal about the door only.
I will make a note of that.
Thank you.
She opens the door and looking at you, Auran, for a second, and just like points towards the door with a questioning look.
What is she waiting for?
She's waiting for you to enter since the rest of the group
I'll
has
enter the
entered.
room, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna try to crack the door with like something so it doesn't shut fully.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. Give me a sleight of hand, just to see if it's noticed.
5.
5.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to you find like a little like pebble that's kind of scattered on the ground, and you're able to just kind of like lean back a little, not very subtly, but you're able to keep the door at least a little bit opened at the moment. And you guys are in this room, and there's nothing there. No desk.
To confirm,
nothing.
we have a letter from Elise. One of us has a letter.
She told you that he would know you're coming.
Okay.
Yeah, she made it sure that you guys would not be just like, hey, we have this message.
Okay,
she
great.
was able to get a message across that you guys would be coming. So as you kind of stand around this empty room, you wait for a second, and then a door opens in the middle of the room, and leaning down and then stepping out is a very, very tall elven man. Very long ears, very long, like blonde eyebrows that almost stick out the side of his face. Long blonde hair that kind of comes into a braid down at the side. He appears to be holding a book, closes it, sets it off into like a little small thing. All right. Well, I was told of your coming, but what can I do for you?
You created the door, right? And yet you couldn't lift it a couple more inches so that you wouldn't have to stoop down through the door. You're a tall guy.
While he's pondering that, I'm gonna slip out.
Interesting. Go ahead and give me a strength check, an athletics check, Auran.
Why? 17.
17. You open the door, and it is hard to open, even though you've put the rock in there, and you wrench it open, and then you realize you are in the vastness of space. And whatever college dormitory was there before is just empty stars. I apologize for the sudden intrusion, or the sudden shift, I should say. This meeting seemed of utmost importance, and I wanted to guarantee secrecy. Now, Elise rarely sends a message to me unless it's something important. So, I would rather you close that door. There could be something that decides to get in at this point. All right. Door closes.
It's interesting because it's actually something from out there that we have to talk to you about.
Yes,
How
Elise.
close are we to the moon in this space?
This is a pocket dimension of my own devising. So whatever things are out there, Elise was rather vague on her words, and whatever code she had been using was hastily written.
I will step forward and begin recounting from the beginning of the disappearances, us finding the returning one, our findings with all the supernatural things, Elise's investigations into it afterwards, and anything that is important to conveying the message.
Okay. He kind of, as you're speaking, he kind of waves his hand, and you see 4 arcane chairs kind of appear underneath you for you to sit in. And he gives another wave, and there's a desk and another very much more comfy chair for him that he sits down in and lounges in as he leans over and listens. So, a demon that can hide in the skin of another mage. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Now, I assume Elise did all the sealing. She was in charge of that, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
That's probably your best chances there.
This is also kind of meant to be an early warning to be on the lookout for something like that happening here. Because if it's as powerful as she thinks it is, she thinks it could be happening everywhere. So
Well-
it's also a bit of a warning to be on the lookout for.
Well, we do have many wizards here who have done rather chaotic experiments before, but as far as I know, there is no sign of any demonic presences within our reaches here. Not to say that there won't be, but as far as I know, no experimentations have been taking place on teleportation towards the moon or from far distances here.
Let's say this investigation that uncovered that they were doing it in secret. I don't even think the Court of Mages knew that they were doing this.
Well, one of the benefits of being in Gelen and having much more free access to magic is that things are generally reported a little bit more freely as well. Now, don't get me wrong, secrets do happen and these rituals do take place without us knowing, but there are certain ways that we're able to keep watch on certain individuals who may attempt such things. I will keep an open eye out, and I will pass this along to whoever may need to know this information. Now, give me a moment. And you see him kind of form a couple like symbols with his hands, and then you see his eyes glow kind of a dark purple, and you see him speak and kind of without any sound speaking, and then he slowly just collapses back down. Now, anyone who needs to know about that knows about it. However, it appears that you had something else to tell me about that may be quite interesting. A door of some kind.
Yeah, and I'll look to Auran and Odavius. They're the ones that had the most experience with it.
Ah,
Whatever you
interesting.
guys are comfortable talking about,
Yeah.
go ahead.
By all means, whatever comfort you can gain from this place, I'm happy to give.
As they mention the doorway, you kind of see a shift in Odavius's face, because the still a bit raw and fresh on his mind, and you can definitely tell he's troubled with this.
Brenin is looking for any sort of small hand gestures, anything that could be considered casting.
Okay.
We already know of Elise being a mind reader. I'm sure that this guy is able to do the same if we're not careful.
Go ahead and make either an insight or a perception check.
Nat
With
20
a-
on insight.
Nat 20 on insight. You can tell that this is not a person who... what do I want to say? Subtlety is very natural for this person. Siror is very much, in a way, a man who knows what he wants and a man who knows how to get what he wants. So far, the only casting you've seen him do has been that like long message spell. As far as other insight into his general composure here, he seems the most relaxed of people that you have ever met on your adventures. Even when hearing about the information about these demons invading, there was just no real care into the aspect of shit coming from other planets and invading our area. But you do notice that when it comes to bringing up the door, there is a slight more intrigue in that, in what he's interested in. He definitely enjoys a little bit more of the archaeological stuff and finds more interest in the things that he wants to hear about from your two companions. But as of yet, no casting of anything.
Yeah.
So, these two, and he kind of points, and you see him like, I'll say Brenin at this point, and you see him like flick his fingers back, and both Odavius and Auran kind of shift in their chairs if they've sat down. Auran, have you sat down?
Fuck no. Auran
Okay.
is not wanting to get close to this guy.
I am also not sitting down.
No, who sat down? All right. We'll say with Odavius, he just kind of like motions a finger, and you see your chair that you're in kind of just kind of come face to like directly across from him, and he kind of looks over to Auran.
Motion that my throat hurts.
Of course. Well, I'm sure your friend will be able to tell me much more of the story. Now, you had a connection to this door, Odavius.
With a shaky breath, I will then recount the coming upon the door. I will spare the details of our fight before the door.
Okay.
But then, we found the door. We set up camp as we're coming through the mountains. And that night there was explain the shared dream and all the words that we had heard. And the whole time I'm basically look like I'm reliving a nightmare. I'm a little shaken up about it.
While he's doing this, I want to cast See Invisibility.
There's no invisible peoples or persons around. It is just Siror.
Okay.
You see him as he's listening to your story. He takes great interest, and you actually see him like, we'll say, Brenin, with your insight check. There is a little bit of compassion and like showing interest when Adrian or when Odavius talks about like the horrors of these undead bodies all coming over top of him and stuff, and like a little bit of like, that's rough, like, to him. You see him kind of twist his hand a little bit, and then from the darkness, he pulls out a small, like, cup of tea, and he sets it in front of Odavius. Please, for your trouble. I find a good cup of tea is a great way to relax. Now, Harbinger and Incarnate. Interesting. Now, you were told to be the Harbinger, correct, Odavius?
Yes.
And then our friend, what? I'll ask this. What name do you use when you're talking about Auran?
Athena. I'll rough it out. Athena.
Okay, I want to make sure if we're using names that we're specific about this. And Athena, you were called the Harbinger, correct? Or the Incarnate. Correct?
I'll nod.
Well, a harbinger of anything is a bearer of news of some kind. And the Incarnate represents the thing entirely. Now, Athena, no offense, you don't seem to be a necromancer of some kind. I can't imagine what ties to death you would have at this moment. But Odavius, do you have some sort of connection to the grave, death, necromancy, something along those lines?
Would it be considered grave domain in this?
Yeah, he's asking if you have. Yeah.
My background is with the grave domain.
That's interesting. Though if the door hadn't opened, there's no telling what's actually down there. And it appears that we need a key of some kind in order to open it. But... And he kind of takes a second to log in all the information you gave him, especially about the keyhole, or the little small hole in the entrance. Can't think of anything that would connect to that door that I've found, but then again, I've never had an investigation into the mountains before. A lot of the Manarot Desert has taken my attention. You bring me interesting news and interesting times on both the front of Talstadt and between. Well,
If possible, I would recommend a joint effort into the middle of our continent, the mountains specifically. A lot of activity, elementals, uh, potentially. Oh, what is it called? There's a potential dragon
The
slumbering
wyverns
underneath.
were talking about freeing the one below.
Mm-hmm.
fascinating.
Then there's a door that leads down below. It doesn't seem be a
The
hell of a
king of the
coincidence.
mountains.
Well, Brenin, I'll admit that you and your orders have never really gotten along with the things we've done with the things we've done here in Kellen. Makes things rather difficult to be able to interact together,
For good reason.
if you say so. Now, you've all done your duties and come here and warned me about several different things, and I've passed on the information that needed to be passed on to the proper authorities. This door interests me, but unfortunately I'm rather tied up in quite a few different things. But I am curious, where does your journey lead you next after all of this? Do you return to Talstadt to become lackeys once again, or free spirits? And when he says free spirits, he looks over at Athena for a second, and then back to everyone else.
A couple of us have ties to Tolstadt yet, so I had hoped to return.
We have no reason to stay.
Well, I wouldn't expect you to stay, though the city is quite wondrous in many of its capacities. But if you would like to continue on the mercenary work, I wouldn't mind sending you off to look for this key that would fit in the door for me. One has to assume that it's somewhere in the mountains, and it follows a lot of the conveniences and coincidences that I've come across in my time of looking at old artifacts. Things suddenly being imbued with magic after the cataclysm, after the apocalypse. I'd be willing to pay a hefty sum for someone who could go out and find things for me.
Would you have any idea where to look?
That might take some time. One thing that's hard is if I don't have the object in full description, it's hard for me to ascertain where it is, but I could send out one of my helpers with you, take a look around, see if he can dredge up things in more magical means to understand where this key may have come from or what it is. I would come myself, of course, but lectures need to be given and classes need to be taught, obviously.
Obviously. At the very least, I think spending a day or two here. I have a contract to fulfill, and spending a day or two here, at least researching, relaxing, maybe decompressing, wouldn't be the worst.
It seems like you've all had a long journey. I'd say it's well deserved for all of you.
Something
Depending
like
on our
that.
decision, how should we contact you?
No, I have my ways, but feel free to talk with my secretary, Cherie. She'd be more than happy to help you out.
Very well. I believe it'll be something we'll need to discuss on our own.
Of course. I can't imagine any of you are able to make decisions without the others. You're all very tied to each other at this point. Now, unless there's something else you'd wish to ask of me or discuss with me, I fear I must be going. Time is running short, and I have to give a lecture soon.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I extend out my hand.
See him slow out, and you see him as he extends out his hands. His hand just like is very unnaturally long. Like his fingers are very just long. It seems like he's someone who's like been through a lot. He's very, very old, or seemed aged in a lot of ways. And very bony grip up and down, but still very lively in his handshake.
So I wanted to make sure he wasn't an illusion this entire time, because these mages can do that.
Makes contact easy enough. Goes through.
I hold his hand. Hold his handshake. One more question, if you don't mind.
Always happy to.
You've been around so long. I have to ask, what was your involvement in the overturning of Gelen?
Make an insight check for me.
Okay, I am going to use 3 luck points, or can I choose to use my luck after I roll initially, or do I have to choose?
You can use them after you roll if you're going to do the reroll thing.
Okay.
Yep, you can see the result and then roll after.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
That's fair. But you must keep the final result.
The second one. Yep. All right. If it means anything, my passive insight is 14, but okay. I rolled a where is it? 11.
There's a slight like twitch of his mouth. You're not sure if it twitches for a smile or a frown, but there is just a slight like, wonder where he got that information from. Well, I wasn't as involved as many other of the rebellion was. However, I chose to stay outside of the main fighting. I'm more of a strategist than anything. I care more for...
recruiter, maybe?
Not even a recruiter, I would say. If you have an interest in that history, I'm sure there are many texts that would be available to you in the library. I was more interested in making sure that the artifacts that Gelen held were still maintained and saved in Sulan, where the strongest of the fighting was.
Very well. I'll let go.
Of course. Now, if there's anything else, I'd be happy to let you leave.
Just give a bow.
And he gives like a very polite nod of respect to all of you. And you see him just kind of turn his back, palms open, door opens, he leans down to get back through the door and closes. He's probably about like 7 feet tall for all of you guys. Like very, very tall, very long, lanky individual, bending down, going through the door. And then you're left in a room that has nothing in it as the desk and chairs kind of dissipate away.
Not even the tea?
The tea, I don't know if Odavius drank it or not. The teacup at least dissipates. And then the tea dissipates from Odavius' stomach, and he's like, ugh. And then I'm assuming Auran, probably the first one to like get out of there, opens the door. It's back into that building that you were in. As he just, and then Sherry is right next to you, looks over. I hope all went well in your meeting.
I'll walk away.
She kind of talks. Is there anything? Should I schedule a different appointment? He hasn't made contact with me quite yet.
If we need to contact him again, we will contact you.
Of course. Thank you very much. And you see her go back to writing the same scrolls back and forth. Those of you that kind of look over, she's writing the exact same words over and over and over again. It is just like a bunch of missives that all say the same thing. All right, so what are you guys doing? You're kind of sitting around the archaeology building. What's next?
Is there anything in particular anyone wants to do? I know, Brenin, you had business of a type.
We could go back and discuss our options back at the inn. Otherwise, we can go our separate ways and do our own business. if we don't want to, we don't have to stay, obviously, and we don't have to work for this mage.
Man,
Might as well go.
I don't really have anything to do, so
Might as well go back and discuss our options.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay. Go back.
Back.
Sorry, I have a dog that's trying to get up on me. You go back to the magic carpet inn, I assume. Back that way.
Yeah.
All right. Passing by a couple people. You actually pass through. There's a sort of a farmer's market setup where there's a bunch of booths lining on the side, all trying to sell different things. I got mind spice over here. Get your mind spice right here. We're happy to give you several potions at a discount. We don't know what they are, and neither will you, but they're at a discount. As you're just passing by a couple different shops here and there and booths. And then you
What is
make
this,
your way.
God?
Do we
Little
need money
potion?
though?
Yeah. So you guys all make your way back towards the Magic Carpet Inn and settle down. Ro is nowhere to be found at this point. You see Malik is actually in charge of the sort of afternoon shift, taking care of patrons here and there. Less to cook for him, so you see him chatting back and forth with a couple different people. And then he kind of gives you all a nod of acknowledgement, looks around, motions for
Will-
Primrose to come over.
Oh,
I'll walk over. Yeah.
It
What do you need?
appears that your performance has gotten some word around.
What did I tell you? I know my worth.
So, I suppose we'll still be having this 2 days left in our contract, correct?
Sure.
Hmm.
I agreed to a contract. I fulfill my contracts.
Well, in that
I have
case,
no plans on altering the deal.
well, in that case, drinks on the house. And he kind of sets, using his multiple hands, sets all these different things up for all four of you to have.
I'll kind of like do the peer over the glasses, even though I don't have glasses, and be like, that well, huh?
There's been words about.
We'll see how far my wings spread. I'll take the drinks and give him a wink and then just take them back.
My wings don't
Oh.
spread anymore. It's been a while. And you see him
I'll
like kind of
put-
like shrug his shoulders and like a little. Oh Lord, hello.
Turn it down.
Okay.
Right click, then scroll the user volume works.
Yep.
that scared the crap out of me.
There we go. This works. Nice.
I just love watching your derpy dog in the bottom right corner of your screen, just hanging out.
I don't know what he wants. Harlem, what do you want?
Woof.
Oh well. It's
there he
fine.
comes.
There we go.
I'll bring drinks over to the table. I'll set 2 in front of Oda and then 1 in front of Auran and Brenin, given the past recent history of how things have been going.
I'm gonna drink slowly tonight.
That's fair. Yeah, you're still kind of hungover from last night.
Eric just lost internet.
Oh man. All right.
Uh-oh.
He was in charge of the music.
Pause.
That's fine. We'll keep going. So, you guys talk about all your things.
I
what are you
just love
talking
his frozen pose there.
I'll put a little block over him for a sec. This has been a very chaotic recording so far.
I say it's raining pretty good here too. So.
Oh yeah.
I think
We'll
it moved
see.
past us.
All right. What are you talking about?
What are everybody's thoughts? Do we want to explore or find out more about this door?
Not my business. I'll look at Oda and Auran. It's really up to you.
I'd like to know more, but it also scares me and confuses me. And you see the same troubled expression from when he was recounting this to Siror. I don't know. I really, really don't know right now. A part of me says, yes, let's go for it. Let's find out what's behind the door. The other part of me is afraid of what I might find out. With my background being what it is, and, the feelings that I got in the moment, it just, if we choose to go this route, we need to tread carefully. I mean, I still have family back home to think about. I don't know.
I mean, feels like if any time to do it now would be the ideal time while it's still the lead is still fresh, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're gonna be
Yeah, that is
crossing over
true.
the mountains no matter what. But I also I don't trust any magic, as you all know. So even doing what we have done for Elise and Siror, I'm not privy to helping them anymore in their endeavors. I only want to make sure that what we're doing is helping the people.
Auran, what do you think? Should we explore
Auran just
this
was like,
doorway?
yeah, for the past couple minutes.
What?
Essentially, what are your thoughts? Do we go for the door, avoid the door? What are your thoughts on our next move?
I fear what releasing such a possible power to an already powerful wizard would do for the balance between Galen and Tolstadt. So perhaps we can be, if we are the ones looking for the key, we can be in control of what happens to whatever is down there.
I mean, we could use his help to find the key, but then just not return it. Use the key for
Keep it for
ourselves, although
ourselves. Mhm.
I fear that might draw some ire. At the very least, I have a contract to fulfill for a couple of days. We can use the local resources to see what we can find out about it, and then make a decision from there.
Very well.
Sounds like a plan. How long do we have?
Tonight and tomorrow, I mean, as long as we want. I'm sure I can find us room and board somewhere. But at least through tonight and tomorrow is my obligations to this place.
48 hours sounds good to me for a start.
All right.
And if we want to stay longer, I wouldn't mind upgrading.
I just need time to think, and I quickly down the last of the 2 drinks and go to my room.
Brendan,
This is
did you have
it's. Sorry.
did you have business in the city? I remember you saying something about, or I don't know. You seem to have some sort of intent.
I want to learn about the history of the place.
Fair enough. History is intriguing. Do we want to get a start on today, or do we just want to rest for now?
It is about like 1 in the afternoon at this point. You guys kind of left first thing in the morning to go check out what was going on with Siror.
Mm-hmm.
But we can go today.
Okay. Shall we leave Oda to
I
his
don't see it.
devices?
I'm not the person to be watching over him right now. If anybody else wants to, that's their business.
I have a friend, and then my familiar. Still don't know if I have a name for them. Let's call her Kiki for now.
Kiki, love it.
Kiki.
And Kiki will will hop off suddenly appear and hop off my shoulders and then run up to Odavius's room.
Oop.
And you hear like a pawing at the door.
Meow.
I'll open it.
You see the familiar that Primrose had on her shoulder a night ago or so. Kind of sitting, comes right in, sits down at the edge of the bed, just watching you.
Or do you want to go? Oh, go ahead.
When after I let the familiar in, I am going to hold on one second. I gotta pull up the PDF. Quick. I am going to use my newfound sending spell.
Oh.
And hold on, it's not loading. I assume it's mostly the same wording, so I'm just gonna look for
25 words. Do
If it's
anybody
like-
you
Yep.
know, are
Yeah.
familiar with, have seen?
And they can
Yeah.
respond in kind.
They can they respond if they're not magical?
Yep.
They can? Okay.
They get 25 words back.
Okay. I'm gonna send a little message to my sister. Hold on, let me think about how I want to word this.
Lovely time of sending when you have to count so many times.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Thanks. You guys,
Sorry.
let me think about it. You guys
Okay,
move on.
we'll
to
come back
whatever
to you. We'll come back to you. If you want to just like message me it later, feel free to like type it up.
Okay.
All right. So what's the plan for the three downstairs?
Auran, Auran, we're going to the library. Would you like to come?
Sure. Athena, while we're in Galen, please.
Right.
Yes. Does the wizard we just visited know you by name? I know, from what I remember, he knows you by person, but rather safe than sorry either way.
Orange just kind of looks off. And then, let's get to the library.
Alrighty.
All right. You guys make your way to the library, bobbing and weaving through all the market stalls. Someone comes out. Ma'am, I have an enchanted necklace up to Athena. Would you like to try it on? Increases your beauty 100%.
Impossible! Put a hand to it.
Goes by a couple other hawkers just yelling at you the whole time as you're passing through. And then you end up towards the library on the college campus, much quieter of an establishment. You enter, and there is a large, almost like a sun in the center of this building that just cascades light across everything, making sure this area is always lit. There's no windows, nothing. Everything is sealed off, but just this large sun gives a great bunch of light to this place. And you see ahead of you several people working at the front desk, just kind of going back and forth. A couple take note of your presence, give you a nod, and then go back about their work. You see professors, students, all kind of going in between these large amount of bookshelves. This thing is huge compared, as big as a cathedral, but lined every wall with books and then shelves filling up instead of pews.
I'll look up at the enormous words, the bigness of it all, and then I'll turn to my companions and be like, well, I've never been much of the bookish type. Where do we start?
No clue. I guess we
Any
can
kind
ask.
of building or man-made structures in the mountains, perhaps? Any record of that?
All
By
right,
all
let's.
means.
I'll go
All
relay
right.
that to the librarian.
Okay, you see a librarian kind of looks across. Oh, give me a second. See her kind of hold up, and you see an eye kind of pop up, arcane eye pop up on her forehead. Just down there, down that row, you'll find a selection of geology and other things about the geography of this continent. And if you go down that way, that is an archaeology section that details the settlements of various creatures throughout the ages.
Very well. I'll go toward the settlement.
Please don't put any of the book back yourself. We will take care of that. Just leave them on the tables. Thank you.
All right.
What creatures used to live over there?
Okay, you kind of go over towards the I guess that would technically be archaeology, anthropology, whatever. Kind of look through, finding a couple theirs. Yes, Mr. Brenin?
I'll catch up. I'm gonna ask the librarian. I'm very interested in the people who made the revolution possible here in Gelen. Could you
Takes a
point me
second.
towards history?
Holds it up. History is going to be down that way. Specific versions of the history of Gelen and the revolution are going to be on the far side of that wall.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, we'll go to Primrose and Auran first. You guys kind of go towards the archaeology section, scanning through a couple books, and you find essentially a book that says "The World Before," and it kind of you kind of flip through a couple pages, and it details a lot of the pre-Gelen and Talstadt civilizations. Kind of goes into some of the history of Talstadt, where there's a bunch of clans. Same sort of story with Gelen, where a bunch of different like clans of people, all kind of separate, doing their own things. Go ahead, give me an investigation check from both of you as you're kind of scanning through all of these books.
I'll give you inspiration.
Oh, hell yeah.
Got D6.
This is the intelligence?
Yeah, investigation.
Hopefully you did well.
Oh, baby.
Let's go,
I'm
Athena.
using inspiration.
Hell yeah, some inspiration.
25.
Nice.
I
Primrose?
know I'm getting the luck point. I got a 4.
4, yeah. Go ahead, give yourself a luck point. Not great. Even though I think it's just saving throws and attacks, but
Oh,
whatever.
is it?
I
Oh,
don't
thought it
care.
was
Give yourself a luck
Okay.
point. I pity you.
Yeah.
You guys kind of look through, and Athena especially kind of go through a lot of the different books, and you find several references to lost peoples in the mountains, as, you know, in general, before a lot of these civilizations all cobbled together, their technologies were not good enough to really go up into the mountains and survive up there. But there are rumors, and it's never really been proven or discovered, because of the sort of conflict between Gelen and Talstadt, and those mountains being kind of a natural barrier between the countries, that no one's ever really investigated these lost people that used to live up in the mountains that are rumored to have been there and lived there underneath or otherwise. So there definitely seem to be some references to people living up there. As far as like specifics towards how they lived and what they did while they were there, you can't find any real specifics, just that people might have lived up there at some point, but we can't really check it out because of the bad blood between both countries. We turn to Brenin. Brenin, what are you doing?
I guess I want to look at movements during the revolution. I would say specifically more on like what groups or important people were from the south and like moved towards the capital. Like see if there's anybody of note, maybe pictures if I can maybe recall people from my past.
Sure. You kind of go through a couple different books of this. Go ahead, give me an investigation check.
That's a luck point.
All right.
5.
5. I'll say this. You go through a lot of the books of the Revolution. And it's not necessarily because you're bad at researching. You notice that as you go through, they describe in detail what occurred, the battles that might have taken place. But when you start looking at the leadership of the revolution and people who were big figures, all of those names are left blank. Like there is no print, it is just empty space. And then you kind of look at, drawings of like a successful battle and, revels lining up for this, mosaic, whatever you want to say. And you can tell specifically people are just missing. Like there are certain gaps that just have no one there where like someone has their arm out and no one's in that space. It appears that certain people have been erased from these books.
Yeah. I guess after I don't find anything, I'll join the others.
Okay. The others, what would you like to do?
Geography, the other section.
Mm-hmm.
The other section?
Find the
Okay.
history of the mountains themselves versus the people that live there.
Okay. What specifically are you looking for in geography?
Just
They
like,
were man-made things
yeah,
Man-made
and
things?
of note, not more than just there are mountains here. But more
yeah.
like,
Or if there was even potentially significant pre-existing caves that might have been the base of infrastructure on top of it.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, give me another investigation check for that.
While they're doing that, I sent you the message on Discord.
Okay.
I'll give you inspiration again. I got some to spare.
Okay. Odavius, I'll say, as you send off this message, you hear kind of this warped sound come back and this almost like radio static where it's just like, Odavius, I haven't heard from you. I'm glad you're okay. As you receive a message back from your sister. It appears that, as discussed before with Elise, why she couldn't send a message across to Siror and warn her about the things. There's some sort of strange thing that's interfering with your ability to message back to Talstadt. You get bits and pieces knowing that your sister is okay, and you hear like, glad you're okay, things fine, stuff like that, but anything else of that just seems a little bit warped and strange. All right. What were the investigation rolls?
19.
16.
Nice.
18.
Pretty good all around. You kind of go back into the geography of the mountains. And again, you kind of run into the same problem where people are like, yep, there's mountains here. As far as settlements that were made into the mountains, there's some that are on like the northern and the southern edge. But as far as like inside the very mountains, there hasn't been a whole lot of ability for people to check simply because of the contentious relationship between Talstadt and Gelen at the time. And the mountains end up being just kind of a no man's land where no one's really been able to investigate simply because if you go too far on one side and you get caught and you get in trouble, something bad's gonna happen.
A little bit of a dead end then.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Should we maybe investigate less dirty history? Maybe investigate myths of the area, see if they line up with anything that we've encountered.
We could look for the Lord below.
That too.
I know it's not directly with the door, but it's still something of interest.
Yeah. They seem connected, at least vaguely.
Hmm.
Okay.
I think starting with looking specifically for the Lord below, but mythologies in general of the area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of go into the mythologies of the area. We'll say you've been rolling well enough. We'll keep your good rolls throughout this things. You're able to look and kind of find the mythology section with help. You read into, there's no mention that you can find of the Lord below at all. Specific mentions of that don't seem to exist. As far as mythologies go, it's very, very early humanity, and it talks in many ways of creation myths and how the world came about and how the early peoples, before magic even existed, how they went about thinking about how the world was made. There were, hey, the sun is in the sky. Someone tossed something up into the sky like a ball and it created something. Or someone stamped hard on the ground and the mountains rose from the ground and things like that. Someone took a seed and tossed it into the sea and the ocean, and then from that, ocean life began. So there's all these very fantastical stories that some of you may even recognize from your own time growing up and hearing about the old culture, much like we learn about Greek or Egyptian mythology today. But as far as looking into the mountain side of things, the King of the Mountains, the Lord below, specifics are nowhere to be found. It's all very general and vague terms throughout all these things. As far as the mountains specifically, there's tales of how they grew, like clashing warriors that are now permanently stood as mountaintops. Or, like I said before, someone stomped hard and the mountains erupted from that dance. Things like that. But no ties to any undead, I will say specifically.
Should we take our search away from the mountains a bit and just into, what was it, Harbinger and Incarnate and the undead?
Sure, there might be some myths about those two words specifically. Maybe even from the old times.
Yeah.
Sure. Kind of continuing through that specific route. You find some stuff about, people who were so infused with the elemental spirits or whatever you want to say that they became that element incarnate. Like someone was the creator of fire and they embodied fire with all their being. Or someone harnessed the air and became one with the sky above. There seem to be incarnates specifically about all the fundamental forces: earth, fire, air, water, life, death. Every fundamental force that you could think of had some connection to someone embodying that force, much in the same way that our gods today embody certain parts of the storm or life or presiding over death in that way. As far as harbingers, you notice many references to harbingers being people who kind of like were warners or gave warnings if someone was coming for these myths. They would come across and be like, hey, this guy's gonna come over here and fuck your shit because you're doing the wrong thing, and acting as, an early warning system for people to kind of change their ways. And many times in these myths, the people did not, and then the incarnate and the embodiment of this force came in and destroyed things. And this, you kind of, looking back kind of at history, you kind of cross-reference these with like great floods that happened throughout history, or a giant forest fire that erupted at a certain point in time, and kind of seeing these events pop up in conjunction with how the myths kind of were told and why these things happened.
Fuck it. Should we just look up keys? I don't know what else to look for.
I don't know either. It doesn't seem like anything from the past is able to help us right now. At least not in Gellen's past.
Doesn't.
Your guys are looking up a very hard to investigate area. Is the big problem. You can open up Laurel's lockpicking guide if you want.
Yeah. I guess. I just randomly peruse for other similar phenomenon? I'm at a loss.
We could look up, Yeah, we could look up maybe new phenomenon that have been found.
Most recent.
Like just maybe research things that they found with magical creatures. Because they must have a lot of information about these genies, these elementals. They're freaking using them as livestock.
I have a feeling probably a lot of the information that we might be looking for might be confidential as well. Wouldn't be surprised. But we've got nothing better to do than mash our heads against a brick wall.
Okay.
I agree.
Can I go into history of the elementals? And you get some stuff, much shorter novels, as it's only been the past 20 years about, you see, kind of get directed to spell books on how to bind an elemental to your whim using magic, and certain rituals and castings that you can to summon one from the ground that is usually easier than trying to catch one in the wild to be able to harness that for yourself. From what research they have for you in terms of the history of elementals, since the apocalypse, elementals have been kind of springing up in various different places. The coastlines especially have been filled with water elementals just going onto the shore, coming back into the water. Wind elementals just suddenly stirring in places that used to be really known for large amounts of tornadoes and hurricanes and things like that. Earth elementals being set into the ground and being part of the reason why the mountains are so difficult to navigate, because they're scattered everywhere around there and can be rather dangerous and hard to tame. As far as like fire elementals, there's really not that much about fire elementals, surprisingly. It seems like there's not a whole lot of places where they do pop up, as there's not any like known areas that are natural places for fires to spring up. It seems like most, if any, fire elementals are around, they're usually summoned in some way, shape, or form rather than found out in nature. And you see a couple other theories about, well, if there's elementals of these four elements, what other fundamental forces are there of elementals that can exist? So you've seen people try and suppose that there may be like an arcane elemental made out of pure magical energy. There could be an elemental of life that pertains to several different aspects of what life looks like. There could be elementals of death even that harness the natural undeath energy and are able to be used in nefarious purposes. So the main ones you know about or that you read about are water, earth, and air, as those are the most kind of naturally occurring throughout the continent. Fire, somewhat known, but less found. And then other like musings about, well, what if we could do this and try this, and different theorems into looking into that. Hypotheticals and details about that.
Cool.
A thought just occurred to me. What does Gellin believe on what happened that caused the apocalypse?
You're gonna open a can of worms. Like, you ask the librarian, like, are there any things about the apocalypse? And she points you over to not one bookshelf, but 3 separate bookshelves that are all dedicated to various theories about what caused the apocalypse, how it occurred, the things that it affected. And like, you look through a couple of these and they go from shit just blew up, man, to like very esoteric like thoughts and forums and theorems. You kind of like taking the magic they have now, and essentially the same way that people are able to theorize about the Big Bang and how that happened using the physics that we've learned today, kind of circumventing and backtracking all the way back to, hey, we have these magical things now. Here's how these magical things may have caused this little thing to out.
One last thing while we're here, because it popped into my head. Do they have any musings on the moon and shit that happens on the moon?
I'll say there's several texts here and there about the moon, mostly astrological texts and kind of tracking its placement. There's been certain people who have theorized about, hey, maybe magic came from the moon or something like that, with some saying that, you know, the connection to the tides and how that changes, maybe there's something that worked with that. Some sort of magical energy that ebbs and flows with the moon. But beyond that, nothing about demons or demonic forces being on there.
Cool.
And finally, anything specifically written by Siror Rosen?
Again, the librarian
Artifacts and stuff. Yeah.
librarian points you to like 2 bookshelves full of like Siror Ozen's texts. Specifically, the most texts you can find by him deal with artifacts that were previously innate before the apocalypse and then suddenly became energized by magical energy following the apocalypse. So there appears to be several things and objects, especially those of like high religious significance, that turned on in some way or carry some sort of magical essence, even if they don't actually do anything. And so there's theorizing about like the people's way back when, the belief in that somewhat infused it with magical energy from way back when, like the importance of an object from old age gives it some sort of life into itself, even if it may be not used for anything and things like that. So some things he's mostly interested in, and kind of going into why he's going to the Manarot Desert, is that's where the most magic is kind of just chaotic there. And so looking for specific artifacts that may interact with that large amounts of arcane energy to be able to see, hey, where did this magic come from? How does it affect things of the past? And how is it going to affect us later on in the future?
Yeah. I got nothing else.
Auran, did you have anything else you wanted to research?
Athena.
Nah.
No.
Okay.
I guess we'll head back.
Getting probably around dinner time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you guys looked at a lot of things, so it's starting to get to that time. Auran, as you're leaving, you pass by that large glowing sun in the center of the room, and you hear a voice in your head, and you just hear, Auran, help me.
From the sun?
Just in your head as you're passing by the sun. You're not sure of any direction.
It's the same voice that called me incarnate?
No, this is very different. It's much more gravelly, but also very impassioned and strained. There's a slight twinge of familiarity to it, but you can't really place it at this point.
Wait. I'll leave.
Okay. Take note. All right. Head out. The bazaar and kind of huts and storefronts that have all kind of died away as the evening kind of slowly rolls in. But the city is still alight. You're seeing now the lights you saw from far away kind of up in the sky, giving a lantern-like glow across all the streets, making sure everything is still lit up for the main paths of things. Alleyways still remaining slightly dark here and there. And you're passing by, seeing several just fanciful designs across, decorated in colorful lights everywhere, all held in their own way. Mr. Odavius, is there anything else you want to do after that message?
No, not particularly. I will eventually meander my way down to get some food.
Okay. Kind of get some food, and your companions arrive back for supper time, as you probably have Kiki just hanging out on your shoulder if you wish, or just kind of meandering around you.
Mm-hmm. The one thing you guys will notice when you walk in is I have the shield my sister gave me on my lap.
Okay.
Break leg.
Get back to look at, is Malik around at all?
You see Rose there and kind of washing off a little cup and setting it around and going places. Kind of looks at you. Still a slight shiver. Still not quite happy with you all being here. And you go up. You're looking for Malik?
Just curious when he wants me to start.
As far as I know, he is happy for you to just go at your own pace. You see now that the area has filled up a little bit. Here and there seems to be some more patrons at this establishment at this point in time.
Well, in my element, and I'll start setting up.
Okay. Rest of you, what are you doing as Primrose is setting things up?
Take a seat. Enjoy the show.
Okay.
I think I'll use another see invisibility and just keep an eye out for anything more attention that Prim gathers. It might not be the best attention. So just make anything invisible or just keeping an eye out overall.
One moment.
Ooh.
Just looking at things, making sure I know proper.
Uh-huh.
Not
Uh-huh.
suspicious at all.
I'm just really excited for Primrose's performance, and I want to make sure she has the best performance she can have.
That's so nice.
So wonderful.
You're such a kind DM.
You are.
Happy to help. All right. You don't see anything around.
Your dog's head just popped up on your
He's a goof. And now he's gonna come over because he thinks he wants something. You don't see any invisible creatures or any creatures on the ethereal plane at this moment.
It's up for an hour, so
Okay.
just
All right. Give me a performance check, Primrose.
Alrighty, just to explain what's happening, because she's testing her limits a little bit now. She's going to because the switch over got some new spells, so she's gonna cast mirror image. So there's 4 of her dancing around. Kiki's gonna get involved. I'm gonna use my shadow form to put on as much of a stage, an ensemble show as I can, just by myself, using the whip and everything. Alrighty. Performance.
I'll say, make sure you mark down those spells and roll with advantage.
Okay. So one first, 1 second, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
29.
29. You get 56 gold from your performance and tips.
Okay.
As people toss by, clap, you see Malik come out, clapping all 4 of his hands together. All right, give your nice bow and kind of rejoin an assigned placement now, reserved for the performers of the Magic Carpet Inn, where the rest of your companions are ushered over to if they would like. Did I miss anyone wanting to do anything before this time? Just want to double check.
Nope.
All right.
Just gonna say, if you get any unwanted attention, just let me know. I'll be your bouncer.
Sitting in the back corner.
Just give me a shake or a nod, and I'll toss their ass.
I'll send you a message through the cantrips. Like, I have more subtle ways of letting you know, but I appreciate it.
So far, everyone seems very nice to you. More surprised that an establishment that's kind of known as like the low end of inns in the city has got some very tasteful and wonderful performances happening. All right, you're all kind of gathered in this corner booth. Anything interesting happening?
Breathing heavy, drinking some water.
Wonderful performance, Prim.
Thank you.
Impressive as always.
Feels good to get back up on stage. Been a minute. And can't last forever, but I enjoy it.
Odavius, how are you holding up?
I'm alright.
I missed out on an exciting day of reading.
Oh boy. I'm so disappointed I missed it. But I heard a voice that I haven't heard in a while, so I'm content and I'm okay with doing whatever we do next.
Is it the same one from the mountains?
Nope.
Very well.
You're holding onto the shield pretty tight.
I'll give him a slight smirk as I look down at the shield.
Okay. Hope she's doing well.
So, stick around so Prim can perform another day, and then what do you guys want to do?
This soul key thing is turning up to be a bit of a dead end. Don't really know where to go from there. I'm sure if we contacted... Hi, buddy. Contacted our person,
I'm busy.
we could get some sort of lead, but... You could always go back... Oh, shoot, what's his name? You could always go back to Malachi. I mean... It's an option.
All the way back in Tolstadt?
Yeah. It's a ways. Like something to do along the way. The very least.
I like the idea on finding the key so nobody else can.
Probably for the best.
Where would we even start looking? I don't know.
Those earth dragons. They've been digging around for a while. I'm sure there must be caverns that are
Can
hiding
invest-
things.
Ask them about the Lord below.
Perhaps there's another entrance.
We can potentially talk with something up there. See if they know of the door. Probably best to talk to the natives to know the layout.
I don't think digging through books and libraries and anything is going to get us anywhere. Even Siror seemed mystified and didn't know much about it. And if he didn't know about it, I don't think we're going to find it much in any libraries.
Yeah. I might have a personal request. How far south would we need to go? Would I need to go to get back home?
Say probably like 2-day, 3-day journey.
Okay. I would like to visit my old home while I'm here, especially if we're about to travel back to Talstadt.
Of course.
We can
Fair request.
leave after tomorrow night if we don't find any other reason to stay. But I would like to visit one more time.
All right.
Odavius, did you have a request?
No, I'm just
Oh, okay.
saying. I just said that was a fair request to
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Brenin.
And you don't have to come if you don't want to.
Do you
I
want
can-
us to come?
You are welcome to come.
And then we will come.
Okay. Eric, was that message sent meant for everybody?
Yeah. I was trying to not interrupt.
I gotcha.
I don't know. I don't have anything on the docket really, besides one more night of this.
Yeah. And for now, unless something else pops up, one more day here. Day after that, travel south. And after that, we can head back towards the mountains.
Sounds good.
All right. You guys all sort of go back and settle in, and I need a quick break. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna linger back for a second, go up to the bar, and buy a reasonable bottle of ale, and go up to Brennan's room, and knock on the door.
Okay. I need to take a quick break so I can get Dog out because he's bothering me, and we'll be back in just a second. All right. All right. Got everyone back. Let's dive into something. So, we last left off with Odavius knocking on Brennan's door. Odavius, what would you like to do? Or Brennan, either one.
I'll open it.
See Odavius standing there with a nice bottle of fine ale, fine mead.
I'll just gesture for him to come in.
I wanted to come in with a little peace offering, as it were. I've had a few days to think about what went down, what was said. And I mean, I know there's nothing that's said that can be unsaid, but my position really hasn't changed on what was said. I just know that I understand where you're coming from, and after all we've been through, it's kind of silly for me to hold you at a worse standard because of this one instance. And now knowing where you want to go from here, it's kind of silly for me to be treating you the way I've treated you the last couple days when I know that it can't be easy going home. So I just want to sit here, have a drink with you, and hopefully, reestablish that I'm there for you, regardless, after all we've done together.
I hate to say it to you. You're stuck with me, bitch.
I'll pour.
No matter how
pour-
pissed off you are at me, for good reason or bad, I'll still be taking care of you. I'll still be watching over you.
Yeah. I'll
That's
pour
what
us
friends
each a
do.
glass. Yeah. As I take a drink, are you prepared for your return?
No. But it's something that has to be done.
I don't know if I could have done the same thing in your position. Is there something you're hoping for when you return, or just...
I'm hoping they are still where I left them.
Is there any connections to the old life still living that you know of?
No. Nothing from the old life, nothing from my old life anyway. Still living.
Alright, well. I got your back.
You got in touch with your sister?
Yeah, I tried to. I got a little bit. Just letting her know that I'm okay and hoping that she's alright too. It's
Do you
been
know
a
where
minute.
she's living right now?
She's back home with mom and dad. As far as I know, at least. After her husband passed, she went home to live with mom and dad with my niece. So I haven't been home in a while and haven't let them know or anything. So figured I'd take some time and do that while I'm thinking about our current situation. So
I would say my situation of not reaching out is very similar to yours, or avoiding what's past. It's hard, but we have to do it eventually. We need closure. That's what I'm trying to get now.
I don't think I'll ever get closure where my parents are concerned. I mostly did it for my sister, just to let her know
That's
that I'm
enough.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, get some sleep if you can. And
I'll try.
yeah, well, we'll figure out what to do from here, and hopefully your trip home won't be as bad as with friends.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
As they were talking, Athena, you slowly, pausing a bit, hearing the conversation between Odavius and Brenin at their door, slip out in the middle of the night, going towards the library. You're greeted by the same sun, though it's slightly dimmed to give it a little bit more of a calmer view in the nighttime, slowly going out. Do you approach the librarian for your request, or do you just wander back and forth? You're muted.
I wander for a little bit. I won't waste like a ton of time if I can't find what I'm looking for. But
Okay. I'll cover your second one first, since you kind of went over by the Siror stuff earlier. Looking around, there's several detailed descriptions of artifacts that Siror owned and had amongst his collections. The one you're looking for is specifically a tablet of some kind that he's been holding on to. And you find description of it. It appears to be a tablet. It had 5 gems inlaid within it. Several inscriptions in a long forgotten language. And they had been in the middle of kind of translating it and discovering things. And you see it written in the descriptions. Stolen, possibly destroyed. And then there's not really much further writing on it. There's some images and kind of rubbings, but it appears to be kind of an abandoned project.
does the
Siror's.
description of the book match what I remember it to be?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Very old, stone tablets. Not even, really books, but just, several tablets of different varieties.
Okay.
As for your first one, kind of go back to the history of Gelen, and you notice way back when some census information on the history of Gelen. And you look across several of the past couple years before the apocalypse. And you pick one, and it says surrounding villages. And you flip through it. You look under the A section, and you see the names. Kara, Altars. Brenin, Altars. And daughter, Addison. These are from probably 20 years ago, maybe a little bit after the apocalypse. But you can see that they've been updated through the years. Kara and Addison are marked as dead, and Brenin Altars is marked as missing. You notice they're all from the village of Green Grove. And as you kind of ascertain all of this information, does a 23 hit you?
Well, it sure does.
As you feel a knife plunge into your back, And it deals 6 points of piercing damage. And you turn around and you see that the sun has dimmed to its lowest possible setting, allowing for very low light. There's no one else around this area. But you see Siror Ozen with a knife jammed into your back and just twisting it. So, you decided to pay me a small visit.
I haven't the foggiest idea what you're talking about.
Now is not the time to play games, sir.
What do you want?
I want a great many things. Most importantly, I want whatever you are in a small jar locked away in my lab.
Why would you want that?
Several of your company from before have fallen, and you see him look up towards the sun, into my use lately. And I'm sure it'd be quite delightful to research your effects. Now, I could banish you away to a realm filled with nothing quite easily, and I'm sure you know this. But your friend's story intrigues me. I'm curious how you're connected to that door and what lies beyond it. And if there are any other doors that connect to your companions. Do you even know what happened to your old company?
My old what?
Say that again.
My old
You
what?
cut out at that
Your
last
old
word.
company.
I don't.
Well, one, and he points towards the sun, was imbued with the element of fire. Another imbued with the element of life itself. The third imbued with water. However, three of them, I guess now two, are unaccounted for. When you broke through that tome, you unlocked certain secrets. And I suppose I have to thank you for saving me from that explosion that caused you to falter and turn you into whatever it is you are now. Now I know
You're welcome.
I know your companions are not too keen on giving me access to what lies beyond that door. But I would implore you strongly, and he kind of twists the dagger a little bit more, whether or not it causes you pain as who you are, to suggest that you go find that key with some of my associates. Agreed?
I don't need supervised.
But you do need assistance. I doubt any of you have the capabilities of finding it on your own. At least, not quickly.
Very well. You stabbed like a bitch.
Oh, I'm sure your friend Maurice can tell you all about the things I can do. And he points back up towards the sun. And you see him wave his hand for a second. And the sun parts a little. And you see a figure of fire, arms outstretched, hanging, head down, look up towards you. And you hear a familiar voice from before saying, "Help me," before the sun slowly envelops itself back in fire. And your friend Kalia and Marie are also in my care. The physical is only meant to persuade you. I'll save the imprisonment for when I need you most. Auran Knight.
I'll just stare at him.
Kind of drags a knife out, noticing there's no blood on the dagger as he pulls out, looks at it. Interesting. Kind of tucks it away. So we have an agreement then.
I suppose.
Good. Kind of shakes his arm out for a handshake.
No.
I will be watching you with great interest, Auran. And your companion Odavius as well. Perhaps there are other harbingers out there to look for. And you see him just kind of walk back and shadows just envelop him. And he's gone.
Wanted to catch up on some reading. God. Great. I'll go back to the hotel, the inn.
Okay. Primrose, anything you want to do throughout this kind of time?
I think I'm gonna. My intent was just to kind of. Room has a window, right?
Yep.
Sit at the windowsill, and kind of stare out into the night a little bit. Do I see anything happening out in this? Like, not anything in particular, but just like activity.
Give me a perception check.
Dice ran away.
They do that.
Well, it's low on the dice, and I know my perception's bad. 3.
Left point.
Yeah. Not for this one, sorry. 3. It's a very pretty city. Like looking across, very like Middle Eastern architecture with spires and rounded tops and points and things across the area, as well as just several large cathedral-like buildings that you recognize as a campus throughout your journeys. Lights filling up the air in various spots, some bright and white overhanging the main streets, others colorful decoration kind of cascading along different buildings and moving back and forth.
Is there any like parks or places with greenery at all?
Not here that you can see.
I'll
It's a
hop
pretty
out the window.
clustered city. All right, hop out. Boop.
Lands, and I'll take a look for anything. Most peaceful spot I can find.
Sure, you find a pretty decently placed spot. Not a whole lot of people about.
I'll sit, and then I'll rest a little bit out there, kind of breathing it in. I might stand up, do a bit of like slow stretching and moves. Kind of breathe deeply. And I'll make my way back to my room in the inn, and not like It's a very weird feeling she's having of wanting to be seen and not being seen at the same time. It's very conflicting emotion she's having right now. But I will, instead of going through the front, I'll try and climb up the side of the bar back into my open window.
I'll say easy enough. Make your way up.
And then go to sleep.
Okay. Auran, anything you're doing before you head back and head to bed?
Let's go to bed.
Okay. You all rest. Take your long rest pretty easily. And you awake in the morning. All gather downstairs for a nice breakfast. Malik running the show for right now in the morning. Kind of, you see him from the back corner, kind of flipping up several pancakes back and forth from different pans, moving them all around, bringing them out, giving you the Grand Slam deal, and walking back.
Cool.
What are you doing?
Munch. Anything anyone wants to do today in particular?
Are we visiting your family today, Brenin?
Tomorrow.
One more day of
That's
business.
when we'll head out.
No one has anything in particular. Could always, look at Auran. Look for any trinkets as well. I know we did when we came into the city, but have a little bit of extra cash.
Perhaps. Clearly, distracted.
You're right, Auran.
Had some things catch up with me last night.
Any new weird dreams? And I'll look at Odavius as well.
No. Just, perhaps I can tell you more about it tonight.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I have nothing special I'd want to do today.
You'll notice when I came down that I purposely sat next to Brenin this time.
You two make up.
We had a much needed conversation.
They fucking.
I think we.
Hey. Hey, fucking baby.
They fucking, baby.
Oh yeah. I think we've had a lot of that
Eat your
recently.
spinach. Eat your greens.
All
I
right.
assume that means no 2 mugs of ale this time.
Nope.
Being responsible. Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's kind of go through as we kind of have a little bit of downtime. Throughout the day, you will say you're free to do whatever you would like. I'll kind of go to people as they kind of go. Going around first. Auran, anything you'd like to do in the morning?
I have no money. No bitches.
Did you need money, Auran?
Or
No.
bitches. One or the other.
I slide you 50 gold.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
Auran, this is...
I'm pretty sure 50 gold is chump change in this.
I made this last night.
Thank you, Prim. Thank you. I would like to spend the day asking around for people that might have been there or been involved in the initial rebellion. How long ago was that?
About 20 years. Pretty quick after the apocalypse.
So I wanna ask around, trying to track down who could have been around Brennan's house around the time of his family's death.
Okay. All right. Brenin, what are you doing today? Or this morning?
How much of the day would it take to leave the city, but then like come back, like for the night, for the
Pretty
evening?
instantaneous. Remember, they had that large teleport going up and down, depending how far out you want to go. Pretty easy to go back and forth.
Okay. There were shops on the below the city, weren't there?
Yep, correct.
I think I want to go outside of the city and explore what the vendors might have more on the natural side.
Okay. All right. Odavius, what are you doing for the morning?
I would like to find, whether I have to leave the city for it or not, a place where I can do a little target practice with my Star Sling that I haven't gotten to use yet.
I'd say you could leave with Brenin for that. They probably wouldn't smile too fondly on it for you just swinging it around in the city.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Primrose, what are you doing?
I'll go to a clothing store
Okay.
or costume shop or something in that realm.
All right. Sounds good. Let's start with Auran. Auran, can you go ahead? Let's do a couple rules. Give me a persuasion check first.
How much luck is it to reroll?
3. Be blessed.
Yep. So I reroll at advantage or just reroll?
Just re-roll it.
I guess
And
it's just advantage. Oh, that's what we're talking about. Shot. Slutty 20.
slutty 20, we love to see it. All right. Next, give me a perception check.
12.
12? Okay. Through talking with a couple people, you're able to get an idea of like several people who were actually involved in the rebellion. There's actually several veterans that you talk to who are like, yeah, I remember that. It was great. We got to kick all the hoity-toity people's ass after a long time of being oppressed. And with our newfound abilities, we were able to take control. And our Council of Nine was able to take care of things. And that's why we have all the great things we have here. What specific, I should ask, what specific questions are you looking for or asking?
Do you know, or is your father, or do you know of someone that would have been involved in the initial uprising? The people that first started and went around attacking and burning things.
The gist you get from most people is most of the council at this point were leaders of those rebellions in several different areas. So a lot of the councilmen were in charge of various groups and gathering together, and that's why they're kind of in the position of power they are now, because they took up arms.
From Brennan's description, it wasn't like a little pleb that went, or it wasn't a leader that went and killed them. It sounded like it was a follower. I'm just looking for like names of maybe groups that had been around there. Like, yeah, I was there when we attacked the White House. It was awesome. Like, basically that.
Yeah, you find one guy who was like, yeah, we raided the city not too long ago. I was able to sit around with a bunch of my comrades and sat in that very building while we rained fire down upon the knights of the old council.
Anyone attacking Greengrove?
Greengrove? From the southern side of things, I remember a couple rebel groups being from that area. No, Greengrove is, backwater area. Not really much that goes on over there at this point, so no reason to, attack it for anything. More so just for recruiting more members and seeing who's all there and seeing who wants to help us.
Who was there to recruit? Do you remember? I'd love to relive the experience with them.
I think it was. See him kind of like wince a bit. It was. Yeah. So Green Grove was just did some recruiting over there. Nothing.
I think you might have just forgotten. Who was doing recruiting in Green Grove?
Well, it was. See him kind of cringe again.
Yes. Who is it?
Anyways, Green Grove wasn't that important. With the things that were going on.
I don't think you understand how committed I am, Zachary. For the next week. No, I'm just kidding. So he clearly something is going on mentally. That's.
Weren't the council members' names like erased from existence?
Yeah. You look at him and you actually see like the beginnings of kind of a nosebleed beginning to pop out of his head as you like continually press the issue a little bit, and you see him just like twitch a little bit and stretch. Anyways, sorry, I'm busy. I gotta go shopping for my dog.
We were told before that the court people, or we know that the court people's names were erased from people's memories.
The council has no names. I believe it was the small gnome man in the village that you went to.
Yeah, he said that. So people attacked, rebelled. They became the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They used their magic to fucking wipe everyone's memories, so they don't know anything about them now.
Essentially,
Kind of
they have no names specifically for the purpose of the fact that in many ways magic, if you know the true name of something or someone, you can use it and have power over them for things like the scrying spell or domination or whatever other things you want to think of.
Okay. I'll go rejoin with the others whenever I can.
Okay. Brenin and Odavius, will go back to you. Odavius, you find kind of a nice little spot where there's like a couple rocks set up, and you can set up like a couple like random bottles and stuff you find and practice swinging around with your sling. Actually get quite handy with it. And you feel that like slight glow as you launch a rock, and you actually get a pretty nice like burst where they all kind of collide and grow, and you see the glow grow and grow, and it just like, and there's a very large chunk of rock that's just taken out from the sling that you did. Odavius, is there anything in particular that you're looking for amongst these shops down here?
Brenin.
Yes, Brenin, sorry.
Flowers and children's toys.
Very easy. You see a small little flower shop. You see a man just kind of sitting there, a dwarvish man sitting there, kind of using some hand gestures and bringing the flowers that he has surrounding him up and up and up, making sure they're still lively, tending to them. Looks at you. Ah, what can I do for you? Have some flowers if you have a sweetheart that you need to impress, or whatever you may need them for.
I have some. I want to get something for somebody from Green Grove. Do you have any flowers from that area?
Kind of looks around. The lily of the savannah. And you see him kind of pull out a small lily, only one, places it down. Grows a little bit further to the south. You see it's a lily that has these orange and purplish hues. Made special by the magics that erupted a little bit closer to the southern part of our country. Very pretty. If you're looking to impress someone from there, they'd recognize this in an instant.
Is this the only one you have?
They're quite rare, which is the other thing. So, if you're looking for more southern flowers, kind of brings out a couple different ones, various like sunflowers, an orchid or two there.
I'll get the lily and then just a couple more long-stemmed, flexible stem flowers along with it. Yeah, just
Okay. He kind
just
of
whatever
arranges
that
a
is.
decent bouquet for you, smaller one. All right. With all that, with the lily of the savannah kind of being the centerpiece of it all. Very pretty. He's very good at his craft. Sets it down. All right. For this, I'll say it's we'll say a gold piece.
Done. And then toys.
He kinda-
Something.
Points you down as you kind of look. Points you down, and you see an old gnomish woman kind of sitting, winding up a small little device, and then letting it free. And you see it's a small little butterfly that floats around, and then sort of lands back on the desk. She's the one you want to talk to.
Thank you. Go up to her.
Ah, welcome. Good to have a customer from a below. What can I do for you?
What? Show me your wares. What items do you have that a child would love?
Well, I got some basics. I got a basic wagon that you can kind of pull along, and you see her kind of take a child-sized like wagon toy rolling along. I got some magical flares, and you see her kind of take one and shoot it up into the air, and it explodes and sparks. I also have various wind-up things, and kind of uses the butterfly again and lets it float around. Various animals and different shapes that you could use for that. And depending on the age, I also have just blocks and building materials for them to use if they're into that.
Do you have a stuffed lion?
A stuffed lion? I don't have a stuffed lion, but I do have, and you see her kind of take out, and it's a small wooden lion, roughly carved out. I do have that, if that's something you're interested in.
Perfect. How much?
Depends. If you want it inert, I'd say 5 silver. If you want it enchanted to move around, a gold piece.
Inert is fine.
Of course. All right. Well, thank you for your patronage.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
I think that's all that I want for now.
Okay. Odavius, anything else for you besides swinging your sling? All right. We'll go to Primrose, go on costume shopping. Anything specific you're looking for?
Yeah. What I'd like to get is something as close as possible, and if I have to like get something altered, that'd be okay. Of like I don't know if a two-piece dress exists, but like it's basically a pale purple top crop that exposes the midriff a little, and then it's a long skirt with like the ruffles almost, but very like not super boisterous, very simple, very like tight. And as the ruffles go, it's like almost an ombre of deeper shades of purple until the very bottom it's like a deep violet.
Okay. Very like Latin dress kind of thing, ruffles around.
Very much that.
Okay. All right. You look around and you find a tailor doesn't have that thing specifically, but tells you, well, if you want to wait maybe a day, I can make some adjustments to some of my other dresses that I have. I could have it done for you by the evening.
Rush order for tonight. I plan on wearing it during a performance. I don't know if you've heard of what's happening at Mack's Inn.
Oh, the magic carpet, you say?
That dancer?
I've heard a couple things.
You're
it's
looking
not
at
you,
her.
is it? Oh. I've been meaning to get down there with the dancer. I've been hoping to get there by the end of the week.
You got 1 day left, and
1 day left.
I was hoping to put a new performance on tonight.
Make a persuasion check. just in general.
Okay. Where's my persuasion? There's my persuasion. 21.
21. Tell you what. In total, dress will cost you 20 gold.
Perfect.
But 5 gold extra, I can have it done within the next 2 or 3 hours.
Here's 30 gold.
I'll have it done with you for within the hour as much as I can. Kind of takes it. You see him kind of walk over, locks the close sign, and goes into the back.
Cool.
All right. Auran, anything else for you? We'll say probably getting into afternoon after you're kind of searching and asking around for stuff. Anything you want to do?
I'll buy some flowers.
Okay. We'll say how fancy do you want these flowers?
Can it just be a just because bouquet? How about that?
Just because? We'll say 5 silver for a just because bouquet.
Okay, can I get... You said 5 silver?
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend 1.5 gold to get 3.
Okay. 3 just because bouquets. Make a perception check for me, Auran.
Damn, this glass dice. 16.
16. You can't shake the feeling that you're being watched as you move about the city at this point. Kind of look back and you see like someone just stuck behind an alleyway every once in a while. Look up, you see someone on the rooftop kind of pull away just a little bit. Just feel like someone's always looking at you. Brenin and Odavius. Anything else for the afternoon that you want to do?
I'm good to head back to the inn, unless Odavius wants to do anything specific. Okay.
Nope.
Then until dinner time, I am making a flower crown
Okay, flower crown.
with extra flowers.
Sounds good. All right. Primrose, your dress is prepared rather quickly, and you actually get a small message in your head. Your dress is prepared at the fineries.
Go grab it.
Anything else you want to do for the rest of the afternoon?
I'll check in at the treasure trove and see if they had popped back. But if they hadn't, I'll wait around for like 30 minutes. Maybe grab a meal. And then if I don't see them by then, I'll probably go find a place to like warm up, practice. Maybe in my room, maybe outside somewhere.
Yeah, I'll say you see them all kind of gathering in at this point in the later afternoon. Auran coming in last, carrying 3 bouquets. Brenin
hiding them.
Oh, you're hiding them? Okay. Carrying nothing. He has nothing.
Also not wearing the dress yet. It's still packaged though.
That's fair. Brenin, are you openly carrying the flowers and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Brenin is carrying very fine flowers and somewhere on his person.
Actually, the flower crown is on Brennan's head.
Ah, okay. Very nice.
Ah, a lovely addition, Brenin.
I like the look.
Thank you.
All right.
Wait
And
for the
as
show.
Kind of wind down for the rest of the afternoon, slowly turning into evening. You see Malik come out. Ah, well, last day of the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I can't convince you to stay for an extended contract of any kind.
Sadly, no. Have business elsewhere, but hopefully this at least gives you a surge of business and your quality work can keep them here.
I'll try my best. And you see at this point, much more packed. Like before, it was very like sparse, couple tables. Second day, like the tables were filling up a little bit. Now the tables are full and there's people standing and like looking around like, where the fuck is this gonna happen? Like, there's no stage here. What's gonna happen? And things like that.
As this is happening, this is you kind of look at Primrose. This is the most comfortable in her element you've ever seen her. Well, is there any suggestions you wish to see anything in particular tonight?
Brenin will take the flower crown off, put it on Prim's head, break a leg, make us proud.
Thank
Do a
you.
barrel roll.
And then I'll look at Auran and Oda. Anything else?
Just have fun. We get so little of that nowadays.
I
Wish we could stay here longer.
as I walk towards the table, I just put my hand on her shoulder. This is the happiest I've seen you. So
I'll just
do it.
smile,
Go do it.
nod,
go do what you do.
Go
and
ups-
we'll talk to you after.
and go upstairs to change.
All right.
I'm gonna cast invisibility on myself in my room
Okay.
as I come down, so that I'm gonna appear out of nowhere. I don't
Okay.
know how. I'll use all my goddamn spell slots for this. I don't know.
All right. Sounds good.
So
Zach's
the
like,
reason
this boss fight's going to be really interesting right after this dance.
Explosion in the middle of performance.
So the reason for the dress is I'm hoping that with the shadowy form, as it goes from like form to form, it'll almost blend into one person, and it's hard to distinguish the forms apart. As well as with a mirror image, it's almost like 4 helixes dancing around each other. I don't know if my mirror images all hold whips, but it's going to be a very floral dance, basically like with 4 petals
Yeah.
of a flower. Tiki will get involved. I'm gonna do invisible mage hands and dancing lights and just throw everything I've got into this performance. Biggest crowd I've had in a while.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that performance, and I hope to God it's not a natural one, because that would be
That'd be
hilarious.
so funny.
Come on, you gotta give advantage to everything that all the spells she's
I'll
putting
say
in.
advantage, yeah, with all the spells. Mark off your spells, but I'll say advantage with all the spells you're casting.
Okay, it's not as good as last night's roll, because last night I rolled a 19, but it's still very good. 25.
25, yeah. Killer performance. Let me roll. $63 gold in tips from the gathered people around. As you finish up your performance, there's this thunderous roar of applause, and you see, like, even in from the windows, like, kids are watching, being like, what's going on?
Where was the shop I got the dress from called? Did I ever pick up its name?
The fineries.
Mm-hmm. I must thank the fineries for tonight's performance, at least in parts.
You see the man you bought the dress from going like, "Arr!" in the back. You see people
And,
turning to him and like start handing out business cards.
I'll look, but then I'll distinctly look back at my group and see how they're doing.
Odavius is infatuated with this new dress. A very apparent crush is even more very apparent.
Yep. Then I'll give a deep bow and slink off.
I'll
Back to
toss one of the flowers from the Just Because bouquet. And toss it.
I'll grab it and then
You
put
see
it
a
behind
couple
my
other
gear.
people like take a couple more flowers that they have and also toss them on stage amongst the other coins that are kind of gathered up there.
Mhm. I'll distinctly-
Everyone, sorry.
I'm gonna
Everyone give
distinctly
me a
grab-
perception check while you're doing this.
This
I'll
is my
distinctly
first
grab
roll
Auran's
of the
flower.
night. I haven't rolled a single thing yet tonight,
There's
so
been a lot going on.
Hey,
There's the natural one.
All right. Hey, at least it was this one. Auran, what you roll?
Also a natural one.
Nice. Brenin, what you roll?
I'll use a luck point to make it a mod 20.
Mod 20? Okay. Odavius.
I am using 2 luck points to make mine a mod 20.
Okay. Odavius and Brenin, as you're like enjoying the revelry and scanning across the crowd, You look around across, seeing all the people, and you notice Siror Ozen's face sitting at one of the tables, not looking toward Primrose, but looking towards you guys, and just smiling before he just kind of vanishes away.
And then, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw him.
Interesting.
That was maybe not my best
Another-
work, but
Another beautiful performance.
and
job,
I'll,
Rick.
I'll gently take off the flower crown and put it back on Brennan's head.
Thank you.
You look better in it.
Wonderful job, Prim.
Thank you. I'm wearing a orange flower, just the one flower left behind my ear now.
I will go up to the bar and get her a glass of water.
That's fair. All right. Malik, happily tending the bar, hands you one, gives drinks for all the rest of your companions, and talks to you, Odavius. You know, if you guys wanted to stay here, you can make quite a bit of money together if you wouldn't mind.
Well, appreciate the offer, and if we're back in town, we will possibly take you up on that. But we have business to tend to elsewhere. So
Unfortunate.
Just quit the main storyline. Just stay here. Just
You guys just
performances
running
every
in
single
together.
night.
That's it.
our new wonderful time as a traveling dance troupe.
I'll teach you guys everything I know.
There we go. I love it.
Well, apparently, your performance was so well known that even Siror Rosen was in the audience.
Siror Ozen.
Siror Rosen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Aha.
He was.
Huh.
I'll come back to the table and
Yeah,
pass out the drinks and linger on Prim as I hand her the water.
I'll
He
frantically
was at
look
the
around
bar.
when he says that, and then I'll run up to my room.
You look around, you don't see anyone. The place is kind of slowly filtered out a lot of the people. They've all kind of left. Don't see any sign of him, and go up to your room.
That was weird.
Yeah.
He has a history with Siror, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does?
From what I
Why
recall.
I don't remember if I was around for this or not.
I don't know if he ever used the name Siror Ozen.
I don't know how much of it is player knowledge versus character knowledge.
I believe
pretty sure-
Auran has never told you specifically about any connections to Siror.
Yeah.
I've told Brenin
Brenin-
about being
The
a
heist.
thief,
Contract?
Yeah, and heisting.
Heist.
but
Okay.
I only told you about stealing from someone. That's all I
Right.
divulged.
Okay.
And then I know about your connection with
Ro.
forget his name, but
Bro.
Mhm.
Ro. Okay.
So,
Rewind.
yes, so characters, yeah.
Well, we
Thank
can
you.
check on him later, but shouldn't take away from your high for the performance. Need any
Yeah.
drinks? Need any
Water's
food?
good.
Okay.
I'm gonna go take a breather. Cold air will help me a little bit too.
Do you want some company?
I'll be all right. Thank you though.
It's best to stick together in pairs. Oda, you go with her. I'll go. Athena's okay.
No offense. I think decompression alone has always been how I resolve these nights.
Okay. You know where to find me then.
Mm-hmm. Thank you though.
Damn. Damn.
Boundaries.
I'm gonna go walk outside.
Sure. Auran, what are you doing?
I am pacing in my room.
I'll say
windows.
Yeah, draw the
Close.
curtains.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You hear a
Knock, knock.
knock at your door.
Who is
It's
it?
me.
I'll crack it, and then open the door, and I'll just go back to pacing.
What'd you do?
I shouldn't have gone in there, Brenin. I knew I shouldn't have.
What happened?
Will, let's talk in your room. And I'll shut the door.
At this time, I'll cast the invisibility.
Nothing pops up.
Then I'm going to enter phantom form. And then I'm going to sleek through the floorboards up to Brennan's room.
Okay. Athena's body just crumples to the ground.
I'll go up.
Okay. You reconvene back, Auran's phantom form. Gaseous and coalescing around the room. Going back and forth, floating.
Where are the others?
Prim is off on her own, decompressing. Oda is downstairs, probably drinking himself because he lost his shot.
Fetch him, will you?
What was that?
Fetch him, will you? I think he should know.
Okay. I'll go fetch Oda.
Well, when you come down, I'm drinking water.
Oh,
Just
progress.
longingly looking at the door, waiting for a friend.
All right, come on, lover boy. Let's go on upstairs.
Huh? What? Why?
Nothing.
Did
Come
something
up.
happen? Oh,
Shut up. Let's go.
I'll begrudgingly follow.
As they enter, Odavius, you
Yeah.
might not know, but... And I'll look
What
around.
happened? What happened? Did Athena die again? God damn it! Sorry.
Brenin, do you see anything? I look around the room.
Nothing popping out?
Nothing popping.
I want to poke my head out the window. Through the
Poke
window.
your head out the window. I'll say you
See if
see
someone's
Primrose.
outside the window.
Primrose kind of pacing back and forth, but other than that, the city streets are pretty dead.
Primrose, come upstairs!
Okay. I'm gonna climb the side of the building.
Okay, kind of knock on the window. You guys all see Primrose's face just like on the windowsill.
Jump scare.
Yeah.
We'll open it and
What?
shut everything
What's
again.
going on?
Yep. Cool.
I haven't told all of you about my past, but it's coming back.
1 second. As the first level spell, I'll also cast Alarm outside of our door. So if anybody gets close, tries to eavesdrop,
Yeah, I'll
That's
be as
part of
quiet as
your-
possible as well.
Yeah, your ritual spell, right?
ring.
Cool. Yeah, you cast alarm outside the
send
doorway, I'm
Kiki-
assuming.
On watch as well.
Okay. All right, alarm outside the doorway. Kiki kind of sitting down, watching the door back and forth.
This didn't happen to me because of the explosion. It happened more recently, 10 years ago. I was a thief that would steal trinkets from wizards and anyone we could, anything with value, I would steal. During one of the missions, we tried to sneak into a powerful wizard's home and steal a tablet of great power. That tablet killed me and made me what I am now.
What?
The tablet I stole it from was Siror Ozan. And he knows who I am.
Fuck.
Really?
I knew there was something I didn't like about the guy.
I've changed since then, obviously. But I was in the library the other night, Brenin. I was trying to find information on those that could have hurt your family. And Siror met me in the library and attacked me and told me that he could have put me in a jar, but he's going to allow us to continue because he's interested in what is in the mountains behind the door. And that we are going to take an associate with him. Or with us from him. So I don't know how much true privacy we're going to get if someone like that travels with us, but ultimately I'm terrified. I finally found something that I want to live for. I'll motion to all of you. Clearly getting emotional. As a thief, I never found what I was looking for. I would keep stealing things until I would feel better about myself. But when it happened 10 years ago, I tried to turn over a new leaf and find something that was more sustainable and made me feel more whole. And that is having friendships like I have now. So perhaps 10 years ago I wouldn't really care if Ozen were to bottle me up and research me for centuries, but now I do. Because I don't want to lose what I have. But I also don't want to put you in danger, so I'm just freaking out.
Did he put a timetable on this or not?
No, not necessarily, but after our visit to Green Grove, we should immediately turn our attentions to the mountain. If anything, to buy us some time. We'll have to deal with this at some point, but I feel that we're not quite powerful enough to take on something that great yet.
I agree with that also, but I still believe, depending on the power level of the associate, we could take them. And once we're over the mountains, Siror won't have nearly as much power over us. We can still take the key, whatever we find, take it over the border, give it to the bulwark, or just keep it on ourselves. Either way, we can't trust this man.
This is a lot to deal with.
Yes,
You said you had a
I bring
group.
such trouble.
It's
was
not
that?
your fault.
Well,
You said you had a group, didn't you?
yes.
What of them?
All but two of us are now some kind of splay. The son you saw in the library was one of my compatriots. Turned into a
Shit.
fire elemental and is now being imprisoned.
Point of
Inside of the
order, there are 3 of you who are free. 2
Okay, I thought you
excluding
said
you
2.
now. He was looking for
The
3.
2 others.
The 2 others that he hasn't found yet.
So there are 3 that are unaccounted for. Now 2, now that he's found me, but hopefully I can go back to being a part of the 3.
Is your friend
Do we need-
downstairs one of the 2?
Yes.
The one downstairs.
There's a bartender here that was one of my crew.
What? And we're just hearing about this now?
Tried to keep his identity quiet for his sake, the less I know the better, but
Have you seen him since the performance? Siror was here.
was he down there?
He was not down there during the performance. But
No.
he has never really been around there during the normal
Evening
performance time.
shifts. Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't know if he's in danger. Perhaps I'll check.
'Cause Brenin and I both saw Siror here during Prim's performance.
Yeah, you said that. Someone's always been watching me since I got here.
I think
He was looking at us, not at Prim. He was looking at the three of us. At least when we glanced at him and when he disappeared.
we let your friend come to us, Auran, because if we can't find him, then he's already been lost.
Or he's hiding.
And by trying to find him, we might be leading Sora straight to him.
Yes.
But at the same time, I have this up for I can see invisible things for the next 30, 45 minutes. If we do it quickly, I can make sure that nobody's currently watching. If you want. Otherwise, we can leave it be.
Come downstairs with me, Brenin, and I'll go under the floor back up to my body.
Okay.
And then I'll go out as Athena. I'll walk down with Brenin. I assume there's still probably people meandering
Give
a
or
little
take.
bit.
Yeah, a couple, like a drunk on the bar.
I'll look around. Any row going on here?
Not
I see.
that you can tell. I'll say, for the sake of timing, you know that his shift is generally afternoon to evening, and then you haven't seen much of him during Athena's or Primrose's performance and stuff like that. And sometimes in the morning you've seen him every once in a while taking care of things, but evenings he's never really been around before.
Glancing around, is anybody taking notice of us, invisible or not?
No invisible people. There's some people, old folks, playing a card game into the middle of the night. There's that drunk on the bar just snoring away. But other than that, no one really seems to care that you're there.
For fun, divine sense, anything besides Auran popping up?
It's Celestial, Fey, Fiend, Undead, right?
Those were the old rules.
I believe that should still be the same, but I could be wrong.
Gotta go to the rule book.
The rule book. Rule book. Checking on the rule book. Rule book.
Of course, Paladin is on page 69.
Nice.
Okay. Celestial Fiend or Undead within 60 feet.
Celestial, Fiend, Undead. No Fey. Okay. Within 60 feet, you said?
Yeah.
Nothing besides Auran's normal undead presence tips you off.
Yeah.
I'll go up to
And
the
then
bar.
no invisible things. Okay? Go to the bar.
Is Malik there?
Yep, he's kind of cleaning some things off. You see him off in the going off to the kitchen, washing dishes and moving things around.
Say in a hushed tone, the friend that I was speaking with the other day.
Ah, the one who was hiding from you. Yes.
Yes, is he been around today?
Yeah, came into his shift this afternoon, left this evening.
Be here tomorrow?
Why do you ask? Should be. I think he's take a look. I think he should be here in the morning. If he's not, guess I'll be here.
Very well, thank you.
Of course.
I'll nod to Brenin and walk back up.
Yep.
Go join the others. So,
I think our best bet is
up
to
Schitt's Creek a bit.
Well,
our best
hopefully
bet
we'll
is
see him
to wait.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Not much we can
Regardless
do
of
about it.
that, I don't want to find myself in a jar somewhere.
We're all sleeping in the same room.
Yes.
That's fair.
Okay. You all kind of snuggle up on the bed together or lay down different cots and stuff.
I'll set out my bedroll on the floor.
Okay. Setting up your bedrolls and rest.
In fact, I will set up my bedroll right in front of the door.
There you go. Okay. And then your alarm lasts for 8 hours, correct, Brenin?
Yes.
Okay. So through the evening, you all kind of get an uneasy sleep for the time being. Auran, you have a dream. And your dream is of a very bright light amidst a sea of darkness. And you squint and the light almost begins enveloping your entire vision, blinding you and searing your eyes for a moment. And for a second you swear you see a figure in that light. And then you wake up and the sunlight is beaming down into your face, waking you in the morning. All of you are fine? Wake up in the morning,
No
alarm
set off.
No alarm.
Primrose,
tripped.
with no sense of modesty, having traveled with a dance troupe forever, just starts changing in front of everybody. Out of her dress that she slept in accidentally.
That's fair.
Hey man, she was part of a dance troupe for 18 months. You gotta go.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Well,
Have you ever
it's
been
no
in
time
marching
frame.
band? If you've been in marching band, you know that just all comes off no matter who you're around.
Yep.
Marching band, show choir.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
all that.
So instinct, she just changes quickly into her armor to feel a different sort of protected.
Okay. You all gather yourselves, start heading downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice at this point Auran and the rest of you now kind of being called to his presence. Ro is no longer attending bar, washing up, covering things around. Ro is standing at the door, waiting expectantly. In small gear, backpack on. And he looks up at you four, a little sheepishly says, "So, when are we heading out?" And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
No.
He has a leash. Oh,
Oh my
no.
Goodness.
He must be tethered. If we go against him, he dies.
I mean, to be fair, starting this off, he was an assassin for the underground, so
Or was he against us the entire fucking time?
depends. All right. Well, thank you everyone for
Wow.
watching. By the way, go to level 6 for this.
What the
Kinda finished.
fuck?
Yeah, we did nothing.
You finished some story beats and moving up towards this next couple stuff. You're gonna
Hey
want
man,
to
if
be
all it
level
takes
6.
is 3 dances to level up, I'll dance every night.
That's all you got to do. 3 dances, done. Level up.
Okay.
Now the story
So
kind of
level
progressing a
6.
little bit, get you into level
Oh.
6 here, as
Have
you
to
meet
figure
some
out
very
this
powerful
multi-classing
people
stuff.
who have taken an interest in all of you.
Okay,
So-
so
Alrighty,
should
we'll
we
see y'all
should we-
later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Swing and a Crit and Miss. If you liked it, give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and we hope we'll see you next time. See ya.